Welcome, bitches. We're talking.
Welcome back. Welcome back, bitches. Oh, shit. Welcome back, y'all.
Yeah, motherfuckers.
We're just talking about motorcycles as we go into the conspiracy realm. Because I had the impulse that wanted to become. I had a UFO experience, which I've explained on previous sessions. And since then, in that moment, I decided I was like, you know what? I need to become a motorcycle rider because I feel like I'm more likely to be in touch with my environment and see more UFO activity if I'm riding a motorcycle.
So my question is, putting you in a car, does that make you out of tune with your surroundings?
I think it kind of does. Because I remember riding my bike, just my regular bicycle. I really liked it. And it actually, unfortunately, the $100 one that I bought at Target just fell to pieces one day while I was riding it. Yeah. So I just left it. So I've been without bikes since then. So I've been like, oh man, do I want to get one of these electric bicycles? So dude, these electric bicycles are cool, but they're basically like $4,000.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay. I'm like, I wonder how much a motorcycle is. So this is how little I knew about motorcycles. I'm like, man, a motorcycle's got to be as much as a car, right? I thought, well, it's got to be half as much of a car at least, right?
Yeah.
No, man, they're not very expensive. They don't near. Yeah, they don't. Oh, I mean, some of them apparently, because I heard about Harleys, and I always thought, well, that's just what motorcycles cost. But dude, Harleys are just apparently just way more money for unclear reasons. For just not very good reason at all.
For the brand.
Yeah. So yeah, but it's funny now. I see like, okay, I'm like, well, what kind of dude am I? I'm like, I don't give a damn about brand at all. I want cool looking, fast. So that is a sports bike. So I'm going, and also, and it's a Kawasaki Ninja. So that just calls to me. The whole iconography, the whole symbolism, it just calls to me, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's called a Ninja. Fucking A.
Yeah. And I think to myself, I'm like, I'm just driving through the country at night, and that's when I see the UFO again.
Oh, man. How would you feel if you got abducted? Would you be surprised, or would you be like, yeah, do me, baby?
It all depends, man. It all depends, because I'm not down for any anal probing of any kind. And I know that's like hackneyed to talk about with aliens, but I can imagine that happens because the doctor is obsessed with doing it.
Yeah, I mean, that's where the goods are at, right?
Yeah. Dude, also, I think it's just the medical establishment just gets some kind of sick thrill from doing it to you. Like, have you had it done to you at the doctor?
An anal probe?
Well, they do. They call it a prostate exam.
No, I haven't had that yet. Luckily.
Oh, good for you.
So you've had it?
Yeah, and then I haven't had one since because I was like, first of all, I thought about like just bringing up charges right away.
Me too. Move.
No one, first of all, this is not medically diagnostic it has no real diagnostic value. They're sticking their fingers up your asshole. That's it. How does that how is that diagnostically valuable? What are they feeling for? An enlarged prostate? Can't they measure that in some other way? Don't they have machines that can look inside things without cutting them open? I think I saw some of those ones.
I think I saw that shit somewhere.
Yeah, man. But anyway, that whole thing is a conspiracy. I'm convinced. I think it's to break down basically to break down your resistance to authority.
Well, tying into that, how about this whole let's get a flu shot when I go to CVS. They're pushing the flu shots at CVS, not only at the gas station, which was surprising enough. It's like, hey,
they do flu shots.
Yeah, I'm like, who's administering the flu shot at the gas station? But they do it.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's funny though, they still just won't let you do it yourself.
I mean, it's like as long as you're wearing a white jacket and you have the gloves on, hey, people will take anything.
Oh, they push it at the workplace, man. Everybody, there's like a bunch of peer pressure to do it too. I think there's something in that shot that
Oh,
makes people peer pressurize each other.
oh yeah.
Because oh, you Chris, are you gonna get your flu shot? I'm like, no, why would I? I don't know. It's
Me,
just
when people say it, because they get on you about it. I'm like, oh no, I already had mine. Get off my back. I already had my shit. Yeah, I got it at the gas station. Just leave me alone.
I'm gonna say that from now, because if I were gonna get one, it would be from the gas station. I feel like it's safer at the gas station.
I got it from Jose at the gas station.
Is it weird that I trust him more?
No.
Like it really, it's weird. Like as long as he swabs my arm with alcohol, I know what's to go wrong.
Oh shit.
Man, but no, I don't get down with the whole flu shot thing.
Yeah, I mean, what are your
Yeah.
thoughts on all the vaccines and shit?
Um, I don't. Well, it's funny because now, like, my whole idea about it is becoming. I mean, I'm not anti like measles vaccine. I'm not anti any of the MMR variety vaccine. I'm for that. But what I'm not for is apparently there's like 100 different vaccines.
Yeah.
I'm like, what can they? I mean, I'm not an infectious disease specialist, but I'm like, what has been happening with how many different organisms like have evolved? And what I think it is a bunch of unnecessary shit. Like they want to vaccinate you for fucking dengue fever, and it's like, man, I'm not going to the Congo. You know what I mean? I think they just love it because it's like basically a handout. You know, they don't. And also, I think that the whole regulatory path for a vaccine is easier than it is for a regular pharmaceutical. So it's a good way to make money year by year. You just be like, whatever, just put out some new bullshit. Give them 1989, they won't know the difference.
Yeah, but also they can infect you with whatever they want.
That's the other thing, man. I know for a fact, and I'm not saying it's going on right now, but the government has a history of doing things like that.
Yeah.
Of trying things. They love to experiment on the public. And I can't say that I totally blame them because it's got to be really interesting.
Well,
But it's unethical. And I don't want to also be one of their lab rats.
yeah, I mean, that could be you.
I want to be the one doing the experiment. I don't want to be experimented upon.
I think they're experimenting on you. To what extent?
Yeah, no, I'm not a lab rat, man. I'm the fucking guy in the white coat here.
How do you know? How do you know? You might.
I don't.
They let you wear the white coat and all that shit. How do you know that you're not the fuck lab rat?
I mean, I know there are some places where they try new things. I know they experiment with energy drinks. I know they do.
Oh.
So I know that they're putting weird new things in energy drinks to try them out to see if it just makes the public turn go full chimp. And, but like I keep trying them because the containers are more and more colorful and interesting looking.
Oh my god!
What am I supposed to do?
Those containers suck me in like a motherfucker. It's just all too much. That's why I wanted to call you and be like, which fucking energy drink do I consume?
Yeah, I mean, people say energy drinks are for morons, but it's a complicated choice, man. It's like choosing what kind of motor oil you need. You got to know things. I mean, there's definitely different levels, and right now, Bang is at the top. Bong, as I like to call it, is at the top.
So the bomb.
It's the bomb, bong, bang, whatever they call it these days, these kids. But let me tell you, man, it packs a wallop, and I bet there's more than just. I mean, there's a whole bunch of ingredients that you wonder. It's like even somebody that's in the chemistry world, in part of their everyday life. I'm like, where did they even hear of such a Frankensteinian molecule? Where do they come up with this? And I think they just go to the. It's probably what I would do too. They go to the rainforest, and I think they just look at they find a new plant, and they're just like, let's just look at everything in it. They must. Or they discover a new plant and they're like something new that's been around that hasn't been killing people. And they're like, well, it's not killing these people. So let's open it up and study it and see if there's something we can market.
What have you discovered lately?
First of all, you shouldn't be having any sugar.
No sugar.
Especially sugar in solubilized form. I think that's really, once you put sugar in water or in any kind of solvent, that's when it really becomes, I think, damaging to your system. That's when I think your system really can't handle it.
I don't really eat sugar, but tell me, is salt bad? Because I tend to consume more salt than my hands swell.
That's it. That's it.
That's it?
There's no, yeah, I mean, I don't know that there's any clinical evidence that salt causes any harm, that it raises blood pressure, that it raises anything that's noteworthy.
I fucking love salt. It's so good.
I don't think you should slow down. The only thing you shouldn't taste is any kind of like that salt substitute shit. Don't ever eat that.
Oh, no. I got down with that for like a second.
That shit will fuck you up. Yeah, because I'll break down. Yeah, because if you break down salt's a general term in chemistry. And it can mean, well, the way we think, normal people think of salt is sodium chloride. But, there's all, you can make a salt out of really anything. Any kind of, really, most things in the periodic table, you can figure out a way to make a salt out of it. But, yeah, but if you have something that's like a potassium salt, that's a whole nother thing. That's when it can actually throw off your osmotic balance.
Huh.
Yeah, because if you look at the periodic table and you look at like how many charges each one has, you don't want to put, you want to keep your balance about right. And that your potassium and your sodium balance is how your heart and your muscles kind of control themselves. That's how your nerves, that's how they keep the balance, so they're able to trigger when they're supposed to actually trigger. Oh. Like sodium and potassium are the big ones. Let me look up a little more info on it. But anyway,
let me ask, what are your thoughts on fluoride?
I mean, I think it's all right. I've never seen anything. I've never read anything that convinces me that it's really bad for you. I mean,
there have been these studies that have come out, even from Harvard study that came out about how it lowered your, your cognitive function, and until
I see a study from Stanford.
Supposedly, it makes people more docile, and apparently it was put in the water in the Nazi times to make people more docile.
I mean, the thing is I don't drink a lot of tap water at all. I mean, I filter it and use it for ice, for soda. So, I mean, I don't really drink a lot of, tap water because it's more for like savages. But nah, I mean, I don't. I don't think you should take it in excess, but I don't think a little bit. I take it in mouthwash, so you get the fluoride ion. You swirl it around as leverage, man. As political leverage.
Yeah, water.
I mean, you need that shit. Life gets unpleasant real fast.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing that we have these people in power that, like, I don't know, when you become an adult and you start realizing that you have people that are in power above you, why? What the fuck is this about? Already, my alarms are going off, I'm like, who the fuck are you to be in power above me?
I mean, if you do read it, and I'm not like a worshiper of the U.S. Constitution, I think it has some really good things in it. It has a lot of problems, but I think one of the good things in it is it gives the idea, it's clearly communicated that you're not appointing a bunch of kings. It's people that are supposed to be your peers that are kind of supposed to represent your interests as a citizen.
Right.
So they're more like designed to be public servants under that system, the system that we're supposed to be living under.
Yeah.
That's why, but they treat it like the fucking Roman times. You know what I mean? It's like, no, we don't want to make statues out of you fucks. No, you're public servants. The only time we know your name is when you fucked up, usually.
How about how these public servants are making like millions upon millions in their term governing over us? Why is it as a public servant you're making, $10 million by the end of it? Like, what the fuck is that about? Or if you're the Clintons, you have the Clinton Foundation.
I mean,
Stealing
I
from
imagine.
the Haitian Relief Fund. I don't know.
I mean, I think it's like any other, kind of servant. You get tempted to steal when you see a bunch of money. And I think regular maids and people like that and regular people that clean houses are much less likely to steal than people in the upper crust.
Yeah.
I bet you, and I don't know if it's ever been done, but I bet you that if you were to study rich people and poor people,
there have been studies. There have been studies.
Really?
Yeah.
I bet you that rich people. I need to read these because my bet is that rich people would have a greater tendency to steal. Okay, what's the financial class? And I believe that if you were to do the test, that I think that knowing a lot of people that are very wealthy, not a lot of them, but I know some, not really know them, but I know of them, I guess. I know what they do.
Yeah.
And they feel morally justified for things. They feel justified in they don't feel fortunate. They feel like everything they've gotten is totally justified, and they're actually mostly due more.
Wait,
there's a weird mentality.
These are which kind of people? Who are we
These are
talking?
I'm talking about rich people.
But you got all different kinds of rich people. Like saying rich people is rich people. I don't know. I mean, you got different kinds.
Really?
I think maybe because think about it. What if you suddenly became rich?
I'm not going to.
Rich. Like if you were like,
but what would I be doing to generate this great wealth?
Dude, you can make great wealth. I mean, that's the thing. That's the fucking ruse that they got over us is that.
Well, I'm not saying you couldn't start a business or whatever, but I consider myself financially fortunate. Some people probably would consider me poor. Some people would consider me rich, but it all just depends. And for me, it's like, what level do I have the things that I want? And there are some cars that I'll probably never be able to afford, but I'm also sort of all right with it. The thing that I'm not all right with is the fact that some dudes get to fly in fighter planes and I don't. I'm sort of not all right with that. I feel like rich, especially if you're a rich person and you only hang out with other rich people, I think that it's a culture that will slow, and as you get more and more to the top, I think that it's a real sick culture, and I think that it's very exclusive the more and more you get to the top, and I think that creates a mindset that you're better than everyone else, and I think that's a natural sort of human thing that people do in small group, in really every group. It does. I mean, I do think it does something psychologically.
Oh yeah, it's all psychological. That's what they make people do going through becoming into the frat and whatnot. I mean, and becoming on the hockey team. I mean, we both saw it. We both felt it. Like you have to go through the fucking bullshit. Oh, are you gonna be one of us? Are you gonna be one of us? And I think you did the same thing where it was like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm gonna do me. And if you want me on your team, because I got a lot to offer,
It's a weird, I mean, I agree with you. It's a weird human tendency, like whenever you have a group, you want to it's like for some reason, it's like, oh, well, if somebody wants to join, let's put them through some bullshit first. It's like, why? Where did that come from?
Yeah.
It scares me to think about growing up with the kind of input these kids get. And the fact that, see, for me, like, I don't take a lot of things seriously, except for things that are serious, like science.
But even wait, what parts of science do you take seriously? I need to know, because everything to me at this point seems like such bullshit. I want to know what you take seriously.
Oh, I mean, dude, there are the scientific advances that occur. I mean,
give it to
weekly.
us. Give it to us right now. I need some fucking. I want some excitement about where technology is going.
I'm really excited about gravity wave mapping. and a better understanding of gravitational waves. And I think there's basically like a whole new era of science that's really blossoming. Cosmology is really, for a while, cosmology was sort of, string theory really led nowhere. And people don't really want to say that out loud, but I will because I don't need to make friends to be on a faculty. Some of the math that people developed in order to come up with their nonsense ended up being useful to do useful things, but it was just by accident. You know what I mean? But now, like now that we're in the era of really like looking at being able to look at large data sets and do complex analysis in kind of reasonable amounts of time, that's enabled people to look at data even from the Hubble. You know, it's been up a long time. And you look at that data and you can see all kinds of things about the universe that we couldn't see before. And now the James Webb Space Telescope is going to go up and it's going to give a whole bunch of new information. And now it's going to, and we know what to look for. We know even more about what to look for.
Wait. What is that thing going to be telling us?
Well, it's an infrared telescope. So it's going to look at it. You know, it's going to look at sort of more of the temperature spectrum of things, but can also look at other things like chemical information. That a lot of chemical vibrations are in the infrared part of the spectrum. So if people were able to see infrared, there's a lot more to see really in nature if you were to see in the infrared. There's a lot more, you can tell a lot more about the constitution, the breakdown of matter if you're looking in the infrared. So the problem is that you need that things that are warm will drain it out. So you need a detector that's kind of cooled off. So to be able to see really well in the IR, you have to have something that's really cold, like something that's cooled with liquid nitrogen or sometimes even liquid helium. That gets super cold. But if you go and shoot up a telescope and you put it far enough away from and point it to the direction of like interstellar space, you're basically looking at really cold shit. So you're going to pick up heat signatures and it's going to tell you like, whoa, first of all, it's going to tell you about things really far away. And it's going to be able to tell you what they're made of and things about their motion that will tell us about like how do black holes really affect neighboring things? How do black holes interact with each other? And also measuring gravity waves reliably and, achievably, like in normal laboratories. So, the gravity wave detection just happened within the last few years, man. That's a huge fucking discovery.
So in honor of Eddie Bravo, I'm going to ask, so you believe in gravity? You believe in gravity, huh?
Yeah, I tend to. I mean, well, what is his does he have an alternate set of theories that will replace the current model?
I don't think so.
No, here's the difference. We can describe gravity. We can say what it does to other things. We can measure it, predict with it. But when you start asking, like, what it is, I don't know.
So did I accidentally ask a deeper question than I meant to?
Yeah, no, you were meant to ask deep questions.
Apparently.
That's the thing. I mean, if you can come up like, all right, if you have a new model for the world, and you can come up and you can draw conclusions that are useful for people, well, then I'll talk to you. But and the round Earth model has been able to help us achieve lots of different things. And when we had a flat Earth model, we were just confused. And now we want to get confused again.
So you think there's nothing to be said about the whole flat Earth thing? Yeah.
I think that it's nice that people are thinking about something. I guess. I just wish they would. I don't know what they're doing with this thinking. I don't know what's happening up there, but it seems to be some kind of thinking. It's distorted. It's wrong.
I mean, as you said, it's good that people are thinking about something. I mean, because thinking about things, anything can ignite other thoughts, right?
Right.
So special. That's fucking special.
The thing that I like about flat Earth and why I like the fact that these theories are around is that a kid that's growing up, like they're being taught, like, you know, the only thing that you learn in school that has any practical value and any relevance to anything that's ever happened or will happen is science and math.
Right.
Otherwise, you're just basically being lied to. And the literature that they have you read is way too advanced for you when you're a kid, usually. I mean, yeah, some kids have the soul of fucking Bob Dylan and they can understand like deep literature when they're like 12. But I didn't. Oh, all right, a kid that's learning, they're gonna learn in science class that they're gonna see the globe and they're gonna see the solar system, and then they might hear somebody on a podcast be like, "No, that's all bullshit, man. The world's flat." And they might think to themselves like, wait a second, maybe I need to look into this and actually try to put this together. And I think when they actually do put it together, they'll realize that the you know, the round Earth, or it's ellipsoid, you know, so it's a little bit compressed, but it's just basically a sphere. How that makes a lot of sense, and how that's why it's such a ubiquitous shape in nature. You know, things are the spherical shape it's relentlessly it's everywhere when you like find answers to problems in math, and when you look to things in nature that make sense, that are useful. I mean, and I think kids should ask science teachers questions that maybe are a little difficult for them to answer, because you should know your science teacher. There are some good ones, but like, that people already thought they knew a lot about. So, you know, you may get people who are looking into the flat Earth model and actually end up doing something useful on the way to it. You know, just obviously they'll end up seeing the reality on their way to that, but you know, whatever. I'm into it.
Let me ask you this. What is your what in all of your journey? What have you discovered to be the biggest conspiracy?
Oh, well, Pedogate.
What is that?
What is Pedogate? We shouldn't have to be explaining those basics to our audience, but it's basically a conspiracy that involves a lot of different people who have basically a financial, like a business market for selling children for all sorts of like insane purposes, other than raising them and making them productive, happy citizens.
So what are the other purposes?
I think for organs. I think for sexual abuse. I think for some people it's just purely sadistic reasons.
So who are the people that do this?
I mean, we've seen some of them. They come out of the woodwork every once in a while, but then there's a bunch of mysteries. There's a bunch of always mystery. And eventually people just sort of stop asking questions about it. And then in Wikipedia, like they have about the Franklin scandal now, how basically Wikipedia is claiming it was all just a made up story on the internet. That's the last thing I read up there. I hope it's been changed, but that's not facts.
No. We're
That's
not looking at facts anymore.
I mean, we're not conspiracy theorists to talk about the Franklin scam. It's a scandal. It's not a conspiracy. It's not a theory.
No.
A conspiracy theory.
How do you want to paint it, though? I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, and a conspiracy is just people who have a mutual shared interest, and that interest can be financial, which is the whole basis of the economy. So yeah, there are conspiracies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So anyway, so I think that's.
So let me ask you this. Do you find it troubling that the idea or even speaking about conspiracies is now going to be an act of crime? You're now engaged in a criminal act. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I hope that they are going to be real slow about the way they come for me. That's all I hope. I mean, I always figured out sooner or later that the authorities are going to put the hammer down on me. Ever since I was a kid, I always knew it.
Yeah, but now they got the robots engaged, man. Now they got the fucking robots, AI going down. Hey, let's just anyone that said anything.
You want to? Okay.
Do you ever think about this? Do you ever think about it?
All right. Well, I'll tell you this: that if you want to, you know what I think about AI, that I just love it. That I don't think there's no going to be Skynet that takes over or anything like that. That's ridiculous. But if you want to hear what people really, Steve Wozniak spoke very intelligently about it recently, and he said that it's not what people think that it is. It's not. It doesn't have goals unless we give it one. It's a computer.
But I've heard Steve Wozniak talk some different shit where he was saying that, yeah, this is something you need to worry about. This is something that is going to infiltrate your every aspect of life, and that you need
maybe the whole censorship aspect of it, you know, and
where does censorship end? Where does it end? I mean, if you're going to be censored with everything that you do, everything you eat, everything that you consume, everyone that you come into contact with, your social score is going to be like, oh, well, do you want to talk to this person? No, this person has a negative social score. Really, you and I would probably be deemed as negative to talk to each other, if you think about it.
Do you think so?
You and I would be like, the system would be like, is this someone you want to talk to? This is
Wait. Which one of us would be the bad one, though?
I don't know. That's the question. I think it's you.
Maybe. Because especially with a motorcycle, I feel like the minute you get
that fucking motorcycle, man. As soon as you got that fucking helmet, it was like, oh, okay, he's the bad one. All right, he's the rebel.
Man.
He's the fucking rebel.
Please take note.
No, seriously.
Yeah, man.
Do you not see where this shit?
I mean, what I hope is that as things get to be like evil, things that are big, evil, and complex that require a lot of moving parts, tend to just run out of steam. They're kind of like cancers. Most cancer, well, of course they do kill the host a lot of the time, but they get to be where they just take over all the resources and they die, hopefully even before the host, but usually, along with the host. I don't know what my point is with this. I think that the evil doesn't progress.
So you think that the beast won't take over?
I'll tell you why I think that aliens would be good guys.
Ooh, all right.
Because I think that for anybody to really get advanced enough scientifically to travel around, you would have had to figure out that you're supposed to be nice to one another. That any culture that didn't figure that out and make it just part of what they just did naturally is doomed to failure. Like, is a culture that doesn't take care of their sick or you're doomed to failure.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the way I feel about it.
It's an asshole all the time. If you're a fucking asshole and you don't give anything back, then no one's gonna give you the goods.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at it, the Spanish Empire, You know, when they came through South America and they ravaged and killed how many millions or whatever empire you can think of that went around the world. How are they doing today? They're not around. That it burns itself out, and the good things outlast the bad things. I don't know. Maybe that's an overly, optimistic attitude.
So where do you see it going? That's the question.
I mean, I think that the fact that I don't know. It depends on when you ask me. If I were to say something now.
Yeah, right now. I'm asking you right now. Doesn't matter what you like, how it. Just right now. This is you right now. Tell me what the fuck you think.
I mean, I fear that the world's going to grow more totalitarian. And I also fear that it's going to be an empire that crosses borders and is more of like a big corporation. But what I think is going to happen eventually is it's going to be very cruel, and it's going to eventually start trying to kill everyone. But in the act of doing that, it's going to kill itself. And hopefully what's left will be enough that we can start again. That's what I think is the world is headed. Otherwise, you could see the world turn a little bit if people get smart, or if there's some big discoveries, or if there's something that really changes the direction of culture, then you could turn it around. But it's also dumb. I mean, evil is dumb. It's dumb. It's not gonna last. It doesn't last. It doesn't come up with good shit. Whenever it takes over, it doesn't have anything to do. It has no guy,
Where do you see the good guys taking over? Where do you see the good guys saying, all right, now we're done with this dumb shit. We're going to do some good shit?
I mean, I think you're seeing it with electric cars.
Yeah, but it's very slow. It's very fucking slow with this shit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's true. But if you think about it, look how many let's talk about vaping. Look at the adversaries to vaping.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like, you know what? Why would you want to do anything against smoking cigarettes? Why would you want to not have all those carcinogens inhaled in your body? Why would you want to do that?
I mean, a cigarette is not tobacco. A cigarette is an engineered device for delivering nicotine and other drugs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I hope hopefully that because people need to think of that. Tobacco and a cigarette are completely different.
Yeah. Yeah, people don't realize that all of the things that go into a fucking cigarette.
Yeah.
You think it's just tobacco, but I learned this when I watched the how it's made. I'm like, oh my God, there's like
crazy. I saw that too.
Plus fucking chemicals in this cigarette.
And they
like,
mix it, grind it, and
yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, man, go ahead.
No, do it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I read somewhere that that a cigarette will deliver nicotine to your brain faster than if you were to inject it into your heart.
Oh man, I want some of that.
And I don't even understand how that's possible. If someone were to write in and be like, Chris, that's bullshit, I'd be like, maybe, I don't know for sure, but I know that there were a lot of smart people that worked on making cigarettes. A lot of the best chemists from a whole generation worked on cigarettes. Like before, there didn't used to be a lot of people making new drugs. Like back in the day, the pharmaceutical companies, that whole industry wasn't really what it is today. And the majority of chemists were making like pesticides. And a lot of the really good ones went to cigarette companies.
Wow.
Yeah, tobacco companies. So I bet you there is Nobel Prize winning worthy chemistry in a cigarette that's probably not even patented. It's probably just trade secret. Wow. I bet you, because it's also a lot of the secrets about the way they make a cigarette aren't even they're not disclosed. I mean, you should just, I don't know. It's really interesting.
So how can we counter it? Let's have a fucking cannabis cigarette.
I mean, what'll be crazy is when science really gets unleashed on marijuana.
Yeah.
Because tobacco is almost, it's nothing compared to what a cigarette is. It's just nothing compared to what a cigarette can do to your brain.
Really?
So you think, oh yeah.
Wow. So cannabis is not even on par with tobacco.
No, I mean, what the engineering that went into taking tobacco and making a cigarette hasn't been put into taking weed and making a joint. Like basically that's a joint is a Stone Age instrument compared to a cigarette, which is like a jet plane. Like seriously, man, it's fucking amazing. And you know there's more nicotine at the beginning of the cigarette than at the end?
Wow.
That they grade the amount of nicotine so that as you smoke to the end of it, you're less satiated. So you're more likely to start another one.
Oh my God.
And that what people and dude, it's amazing when you read into this that they know that your first thing of when you light it and take your first puff is the thing that you think of with smoking, so that you form that connection. So the first hit of a cigarette has like other drugs in the end. There's other things in the end of it that aren't all the way in the back.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
In addition to more nicotine toward the front, they put other stimulants and other things like MAOIs, like chemicals that are in such small amounts that you can just kind of put them in.
Wow. And they like to fuck with you, you know?
Yeah, man. Those tobacco companies, dude, they probably know some shit about pharmacology that they don't. It's probably in their company vaults that their scientists don't even really disclose.